Bruce Dickinson finished the first part of his Mandrake Project Tour, during which he has apparently also already recorded the upcoming live DVD, before gracing European fans with his presence on the second leg of the tour. So yes, it looks like the next Bruce Dickinson solo release will indeed be a live concert, recorded during his first solo tour in more than 20 years. And even more, it might look very familiar to some long-time Bruce Dickinson fans, of which we will talk a little bit later in the video. But anyway, we first learned about the possibility of Bruce recording a live DVD during his tour around Brazil roughly a month ago, when a rather well-respected Brazilian magazine UOL and the journalist José Norberto Flash posted about it on social media. But the truth is that since there were just so many speculations around this album and this tour of Bruce's, many of which turned out to be absolutely not true. You know, like the one that Adrian Smith would most definitely 127% confirm join Bruce and Roy Z on this tour, when neither Adrian nor Roy are actually a part of it in the end. But yeah, given all that, I, just like I'm sure many Iron Maiden and Bruce Dickinson fans, did not pay too much attention to those news until now that the Brazilian part of the tour is over, and thanks to our subscribers, we have confirmation from the band themselves, as well as something we can actually talk about. So the new DVD was recorded during the 7 shows Bruce Dickinson played in Brazil this April, with a special emphasis on the one in Sao Paulo. And this is of course pretty understandable, given it is the concert in Sao Paulo during which the band has performed in front of possibly the largest audience, not counting some future festival appearances of course, on this entire tour. And overall, Brazilian crowds are usually known as some of the craziest ones, so it simply makes a lot of sense. Yet, weirdly enough, Bruce Dickinson's previous live album, released 25 years ago, was actually also recorded in São Paulo during the 1999 Chemical Wedding World Tour. If we compare the setlists on the 1999 and 2024 concerts, we'll see that this time around, Bruce performed 16 songs at every concert in Brazil, against 12 which have made it on Scream for Me Brazil. Yet, out of those 12, a mind-blowing amount of 9 tracks, namely Road to Hell, Dark Side of Aquarius, The Tower, Accident of Birth, Laughing in the Hiding Bush, Tears of the Dragon, Book of Thel, Gates of Urizen, and Chemical Wedding, were also performed and most likely recorded during this year's run. But of course, given the fact that those 2 live concerts are being released a quarter of century apart, it is more than okay for most that the new one will basically be a reimagined version of Scream for Me Brazil, with a bunch of songs Bruce Dickinson released since then. Especially since Bruce now has a completely different lineup, which is half his age, and sound-wise relies on completely different aspects and instruments than he did back in 1999, with Roy Z and Adrian Smith playing an integral part in his music back then. So yeah, I'm actually really excited to compare the 2024 renditions of those songs to the one we all know for the past 25 years, and see how Bruce's interaction with the crowd and the band, how his voice and stage presence has changed and evolved when he isn't a part of Iron Maiden. And I think I'm actually more excited for this live album now than I was for the Mandrake project itself, especially after seeing all those clips online of Bruce Dickinson totally enjoying himself on this tour. But anyways, our fellow Metal Pilgrim subscriber Pedro Kirovsky had a chance to speak to a member of Bruce's band the other day, who confirmed that all of the shows in Brazil were indeed recorded for the DVD, although the one in São Paulo is supposed to become the main one, and I guess that's why it had a couple of interesting guests present in the audience that night, which means that by now we only have 3 questions left. Number 1, when will this DVD come out? Number 2, will it feature only the Brazil dates, or will Bruce switch up his setlist a bit and record a couple of European shows as well? And the third one being, what can he possibly call it now to top the already taken Scream for Me Brazil? Talking about the release date, I guess the most obvious scenario would be to drop it sometime around winter time, late this or early next year, while the fans' memories are still fresh. And given the fact that Colin Price was present at the shows, and that with the modern technology, production doesn't require that much time anymore, I believe it is actually absolutely doable. And moreover, I actually don't see any point for Bruce to record any of the European dates this year, and even more so to change his setlist, since right now it basically is a best-of song compilation which perfectly balances the classics and the songs from the new record. Unless, of course, he'll have Adrian or Roy rejoining him at some of the shows in Europe. But since it's unlikely, my bet would be on Brazilian dates being the only ones used on this upcoming live DVD. But what do you guys think? When will it come out, and what should Bruce call it? Because I don't know why, but I have this weird feeling that the title from this upcoming live DVD will be a play on Rain on the Graves of some sort. Simply given the fact that it is actually one of the best received songs by the audience on this tour, and also since Bruce himself has used this song as a soundtrack for pretty much all of his social media posts. What about you? Please let us know in the comments, as well as whether you're excited to see this live DVD or not. Because as I mentioned myself, I'm actually, for some weird reason, more excited for this live DVD than I was for the Mandrake Project itself. Simply because for me, Bruce Dickinson is a great entertainer. And even in the past years, I actually found myself returning to his live albums much more often than I would to the studio ones. So yes, I'm actually super excited for this upcoming live album. But anyways, thank you so much for watching the short video, guys, and we will prevail. Slava Ukraini!